I'm not here to tell you I told you so. Nobody likes that guy. I'm not going to be that guy. So no, I am not here to say that I told you so. But I told you so on October 1st. And then the following Sunday, I went on national television and I said it again. And I took heat for it at that time. But I stood my ground. I leaned into it. I was not backing down. And while I repeat, and I cannot stress this enough, I am not here to say that I told you so, but I did tell you that the Cleveland Browns are America's team. And I was the first one to say it. And that was last October. And now look at them. Look at the last 24 hours. And if you want to get on that bandwagon, there is still some room. But you better move quickly. And you better show respect to those of us who have been on it for a while now. You see, I'm not just on that bandwagon. I'm not just driving that bandwagon. I built that freaking bandwagon. I gathered the spare parts, a fender here, a tire there. I put on my welding mask, and I welded this thing together. I even bolted some I-beams to the floorboards so there would be extra support for when I knew you people would all want to get on. And if you want to be among that number, you better get on right now. I've been telling you for months, and finally maybe now you will listen to me. Maybe you checked Twitter last night around 5:15 p.m. Pacific, and you saw the trending topics. If not, let me run them down right now. Browns, Odell, Giants, Baker, Jarvis, Ronaldo, Landry, AFC North, John Dorsey, Cleveland. Like that was a where were you when moment. To quote that legendary Browns fan, oh my God, this is not happening.
Oh my God, this is not happening.
Except it is. And it's awesome. It's amazing. 10 topics, 9 about the Cleveland Browns. And a bunch of them were just single names. This is how iconic America's team has become. Iconic. Single names, household names, Odell, Baker, Jarvis. And right now, you better put Dorsey on that list. Because when people are talking about Dorsey these days, they're not talking about Glenn Dorsey or Ken Dorsey or even Jack Dorsey, the guy from Twitter. They're talking about John Michael Dorsey, the man who just worked the Giants for Odell Beckham Jr. That's how earth-shattering that deal is. I've waited this long to mention who they acquired because you already knew. And if you didn't hear the details, Odell Beckham Jr. for the 17th pick, the 95th pick, and Jabril Peppers. And really, they're combining this with their earlier trade to make it Odell Beckham Jr., Olivier Vernon, for Kevin Zeitler, Jabril Peppers, the 17th pick, and the 95th pick. So, if you're a little confused, it's understandable, but I'll make it easy for you. You ready? Here it is. Let me make this very easy. The Cleveland Browns are going to the Super Bowl. That's it. That's the plan. They're not looking to make the playoffs. They're not looking only to win their division. They're looking to win the whole damn thing. They aren't looking at last season saying, that's a step. Let's take another step. They're not taking baby steps. They're taking giant steps, and they're stomping on fools. They aren't just looking to take part. They are looking to take over. And before you say pump the brakes, I say take a look at the roster. Look at what they have. Hell, just take a look at that offense. Baker Mayfield dropping back to pass. Nick Chubb eating up yards. Odell and Jarvis running routes. David Njoku causing havoc. Freddie Kitchens dialing it all up. I mean, do you remember the Browns offense in the second half of last season? That was when Kitchens jumped into the fire in the middle of the season with all that chaos all around him. And he worked with a rookie quarterback, and they killed it together. So you give Fred and Baker a full offseason and this array of weapons, and then look the hell out. They have an electric young QB. They have the best receiving tandem in football. Yes, I said it. They're so good, you don't need me to run down their stats to prove it. You already know. Odell and Jarvis on the same roster isn't even real football. That's fantasy football. But now it's real. The future of the league is brown and orange. Then go to the other side. Look at the defense. You have Myles Garrett. You have Denzel Ward. You have Demarius Randall. And then you add Olivier Vernon and Sheldon Richardson. That's right, because in the last few days, the Cleveland Browns have added Beckham, Vernon, Richardson. Is that any good? And on top of that, while the Browns are getting better, much better, the Steelers have lost 2 elite offensive weapons. And speaking of that for a moment, remember when people actually cared where Le'Veon Bell was going to end up or where Antonio Brown went? Yeah, that all got erased the moment that trade went down yesterday. So the Steelers are not the same team they've been in the past. The Ravens are hemorrhaging talent defensively, and the Bengals are breaking in a new coach. So the AFC North is not just there for the taking because they're saying that's not enough. And I'm saying, hell yes. That's why they're America's team. Because of what they've done and because of how they've done it. And I said it back in October. And what they've done is go from 0-16 to a team that literally could win it all. And they did it in just over a year. And yes, I understand this. You can't really predict or guarantee anything. This isn't some crazy win-now mentality, though. That's the key. This is not a crazy win-now mentality. They've got a core that is all between the age of 21 and 27. We're talking about Baker, Odell, Jarvis, Chubb, Garrett, Denzel Ward, Randall. The list goes on. It's a place to chase rings, and it's awesome. And it could not happen to a better city because Browns fans have suffered through a hell of a lot. I'm not even going to get into all the losses because that is now ancient history. The past is prologue. I'm just going to say it was not that long ago that the biggest highlight at a Browns game was some fan trapping a possum in the stadium. It was not that long ago that Brad Paisley was giving horrible speeches to that team, or that somebody was suggesting that the next head coach would be the former Secretary of State. And now, only a few months later, we're talking about a possible Super Bowl run. That's how fast that turned. And no, Cleveland, it's not a dream. You're not sleeping. It is real. It's happening, and it's awesome. And while I was the only one saying it back in October, now you can all say it with me. The Cleveland Browns are America's team.